not to have been shot. He never raised his voice nor changed his tone, but she was thoroughly ashamed of herself all the same. She wouldn't care to lose his good opinion. She knew, although she couldn't say how she knew, that she indeed held his good opinion, or had held it until this latest misadventure in the tack room. At present, he was having her repent, fasting for her wayward ways. Although she took it as a good sign that he had not sent her back to CID headquarters to submit to yet another session of retraining in basic protocol. Instead, after backtracking for several hours around the racecourse, they had managed to find the merest scrap of a lead that had led them here. A pony boy's tip, given on promise of anonymity while the frightened man looked over his shoulder every other word. Have a look about the Laughing Cat pub in Northampton, the man had told them. He intimated the murder was not an isolated incident, but would say no more. Wouldn't even give his name. This was of interest. When Acton had briefed her about the murder, he mentioned Home Office concerns that a syndicate of some kind was laundering money at the racecourse. Her run-in with Capper could turn out to be a case-breaker, if she didn't get the sack, that was, and if they ever laid eyes on him again. They waited in silence. Doyle didn't dare suggest he turn on the engine so that the heater was engaged, and she didn't like to even think of what the wet weather was doing to her hair after such a ragged day. Have pity, Acton, she pleaded mentally. I'll expire of shame else. At long last he relented and turned to face her, his dark eyes meeting her own. I don't think he's here, but there may be someone who knows where he's gone to ground. Let's have a look round. As was his custom, he opened the car door for her, and she declined his umbrella, as the rain was now only sporadic. He was somewhat older than her, and always treated her with grave courtesy. It's in the breeding, she thought, as she cautiously stood up on stiff legs. He's probably dying to give me the back of his hand. They approached the pub, which was located on an undesirable corner of the working-class area that bordered Kempton Park Racecourse. It was late, and the street was quiet as they crossed it, their footsteps echoing, while she tried to keep up with Acton's long strides. He forgot sometimes that she was so much shorter, or he continued unhappy with her and would just as soon leave her behind. Doyle stepped up her pace. He glanced down at her, sidelong. You will allow me to take the lead, please. She blushed again in shame. He was reminding her not to stray away from him, as she had done at the racecourse when she had been roundly hoodwinked. I'll be clinging to you like a barnacle, sir, she replied, in an overly pert tone. May as well be hung for a sheep as a lamb, and perhaps she could tease her way back into his good graces, anything to alleviate her current state of disgrace. She glanced up to observe his response, and was relieved to receive one of his half-smiles as he opened the door for her. There now, perhaps she wasn't to get the sack, just be tortured till the wee hours, in the hope that she had learned her flippin' lesson. It was a rare wonder the man didn't get sick of the sight of her. They stepped in through another set of doors and made for the bar, Acton giving the interior of the pub a quick survey, and Doyle trusting him to see if their man was present. He was keenly observant. Her talents lay elsewhere. Not here, he said quietly. They leaned on the counter, and she glanced around. The rain had kept the customers away, and as it was quite late, there were only a half-dozen or so hardy souls scattered about, drinking in a desultory way, as could be expected on such a night, and in such an area of Greater London. It was a shame their man was not in evidence. If Capper had indeed been present, Doyle would have leapt upon him and strangled him single-handedly for putting her through it with Acton. Sadly, her temper would occasionally goad her into doing things she oughtn't, so perhaps it was just as well. Should I ask a few questions, sir? She was hoping to redeem herself by showcasing her talents. Acton considered, his elbow on the bar whilst he took a keen look around, and then settled his gaze upon her. Have one of your coffees, and then we'll see what the barkeeper has to say. Doyle didn't hesitate, and caught the keep's attention. Coffee was her life's blood. A latte with half soy and half skim.